All right. Hopefully, you guys can hear me decently well. Welcome into Pickaxe and Roll, brought to you by good friends here at Mile High Sports. I am your host, Ryan Blackburn at NBA Blackburn on Twitter, parts of the Mile High Sports Podcast Network. And I am here. I am ready to discuss the Denver Nuggets and a win over the Chicago Bulls, breaking a 3-game losing streak. Final score of 136 to 120 is a high scoring game. Not really a surprise given where both teams are at. And like Denver obviously had to defend just enough in order to get over the Bulls, but they were able to do it for sure. If you can't tell, I'm in a slightly new setting. I've got a different mic. I am currently dog sitting, house sitting for some extended family. Decided to move the setup out here. Didn't want to let you guys down though, and brought a whole bunch of stuff out here just to make sure that I had everything all good. But hopefully it sounds all right. Hopefully the internet connection is okay. I know there was a little bit of latency issues, so hopefully nothing too crazy. Hurricane, that is insane. Romy is a friend. That's insane, bro. Oh my gosh. Okay. The dogs are on the couch inside. Maybe I could share the. Actually, I think I took a picture a little bit earlier, so I'll show you guys on the camera if you want to see. They are sleeping away right here. Hopefully, you guys can get a good picture there. Now, both of them are chilling. So, very exciting stuff out here, but wanted to make sure I was taking care of the family, taking care of the people. But got to watch the game tonight, got to relax, and am here doing a Pickaxe and Roll episode for you as well. So this one probably won't go for super long for obvious reasons, but I do think that this will be a good episode, and it's one where I'm excited to do it. I'm excited to talk about a good win, a lot of things to discuss in this one. So bear with me. Gonna be awesome. We got a whole bunch of great things from this. First and foremost, Cam Johnson's back right in the nick of time. That was the first thing I wrote about for Mile High Sports after the game. Was huge that he came back, because right before that, Peyton Watson goes down, Spencer Jones in concussion protocol, although I kind of also think that the Nuggets would have delayed signing him to the two-way contract as a result, or at least they have an excuse now in order to do that. But was really good to see Denver get back Cam Johnson first and foremost, and for him to play really well. We'll talk about him a little bit after Jokic, because you got to start with Jokic, but was just a great victory overall for Denver. It took them a little bit while to get defense into this game. I actually thought the defense was better than people seem to believe, people seem to think. Obviously, when the Bulls score 120 points and hit 23 pointers, you feel a little bit of some kind of way about that statement. So I understand, I get it. But Denver's defense made strides. They were better than what they were against the Knicks. They were better than what they were against Detroit. They were better than what they were against OKC, in my opinion. I know that it doesn't really jive well with a lot of people given what we saw and given the results, but I do think the process was better. And one of the reasons for that was Jokic. Like, Jokic was unbelievable in this game, was truly spectacular in 33 minutes. I'm not sure where the minute restriction is at. I think we could say goodbye to that after he played 45 against the Knicks in a double overtime game. 33 minutes plus 36. Plus 36. That's the first line on the box score. 22 points, 7 of 12 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3, 6 of 6 from the line. Remember that 1 of 13 game that he had from 3? Yeah, he fixed the jumper. There's no problem with the jumper now. 14 rebounds, 17 assists, unbelievable passing game, 4 blocks. Did have 3 turnovers, but also had a steal. He had so many deflections too, and not necessarily ones that went for steals, but just a lot of great activity, a lot of great things from this game and from Jokic that I was really, really impressed with. I thought his mentality was right there. I thought his attention to detail was very good. He was I thought better on defense throughout the game than he had been at any point in the first few games that he's been back. He was moving particularly well. And yes, he was facing Gershon Yabusele and Nick Richards, like two guys who had just gotten to Chicago. Those guys are familiar with Jokic. They understand what they're supposed to do against him, though. So he made that super simple, just made those reads super easy, was efficient, was effective, and in the second half, just turned it on in a way that only he really can. So, really great stuff from him. And I like some of the passes, especially in the fourth quarter. I know he's toying with the Chicago Bulls. He's making it so easy against them. And he could have gone for a higher point total against the guys that he was guarded by. There's no question about it. But what he did was he created a great shot for other people every single time down the floor. It was a really impressive performance and one that I think he deserves a ton of credit for. He set the tone from the very beginning. The defense didn't fully get into it, but I don't think it was him. I honestly think look, I have commented on when Jokic is bad defensively. There's no question about it. Like, I hope you guys can take my objectivity in that sense. But like, I thought he was really good on defense tonight. I thought that there were so many great possessions that he had in terms of just cutting off what the opposing team was trying to do. Yes, there were times where like he switched. They put him on Isaac Okoro at one point, and I think Okoro hit a three. By the way, one time where Nick Richards hit his second career three tonight, another example of how the luck just wasn't with Denver for a while until the fourth quarter. Yeah, switched. Christian Brown collapsed into the paint. Nick Richards hits the second three of his entire NBA career from the corner. Just sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes that's how it goes. But it wasn't at Jokic's behest. It was a lot of great stuff from Jokic, and I just thought that he set the tone exactly what you want the best player in the world to do. The stats follow that. This isn't a situation where the stats are meaningless in a game where his like focus or attention to detail isn't there. This was tremendous stuff. And he also passed Oscar Robertson for the second most triple doubles in NBA history. He got to 182. For a long time, Oscar Robertson was the gold standard for all around impact, for points, rebounds, assists, for like as a 6'3", I think he's 6'3", might be 6'4", but 6'3" guard who was bigger than, in terms of his rebounding, bigger than anybody else on the floor, pound for pound. He was the ultimate Mr. Triple-Double for 1 point. And then Russell Westbrook, I believe in 2021, maybe 2022, passed him for the all-time triple-double list. It might have still been when he was with OKC. I can't remember if I'm being. I feel like it was a little bit lower, like later with either Washington or the Clippers or somebody like that, maybe Houston. But just a lot of great stuff from Russell Westbrook to get to that place. Super high volume, but did it for a long time. Jokic has done it in less than 800 games. Those guys reach over 1,000 games, I believe, when they did it. Russ might have been a little bit less than that, but he's obviously played for 18 seasons, so the total games have really accumulated there. For Jokic, like his total games that he's played it just pales in comparison. So the rate at which he has been accumulating these triple doubles is ridiculous, is insane. And I'm just very impressed with the way the Nuggets continue to play around him. Cam Johnson came back today. It was seamless in terms of how the offense was running. I was really impressed from minute one of this game how much the Nuggets were orbiting around him, getting the back cuts, doing all the great things that they needed to do. The offense was humming tonight, but you can't do that without Jokic being the level of passer that he is. And like I said earlier, just toying with Chicago tonight in so many different ways was awesome to watch. Now let's talk about Cam Johnson, who, as I mentioned, came back, played 27 minutes. I knew he would start when he came back. Obviously, like you can't really change things up that much. You can't slow play it at this point with Aaron Gordon, Spencer Jones, and Peyton Watson now injured. So Cam Johnson starts. He plays the power forward spot, plays power forward basically the entire time. I'll pull up the rotation chart so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. Cam Johnson plays the power forward spot. There's just nobody to really play shoot power forward next to him in a lot of these looks. If Denver had to face a lineup where they would go double big, then maybe they play Jokic and Valanciunas together, and then you have Cam Johnson next to them. But there's no other actual power forward on this team right now that Denver feels comfortable playing. Deron Holmes could technically play, but Denver doesn't really feel comfortable with that clearly. Zeke Naji could play, but it's just not something that they're comfortable with right now. They want to get into this mix, and I don't blame them. I think that the minutes they've gotten when they've gone small have been pretty good. They leave themselves compromised in some ways, including on the defensive glass, where opposing teams are just grabbing a whole bunch of rebounds. It's not because Denver's not big enough, though. It's mostly because they are like the guards were not rebounding well enough. And Cam Johnson deserves some criticism for that. He had 0 rebounds, I think, through 3 quarters, did finish with 4. Did finish with 4. But the shooting, the orbiting, the momentum, 14 points, 6 of 9 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3. I thought his defense was fine. There was nothing really standoff about it. Mostly guarding either Isaac Okoro or Matas Buzelis, or if there was another guy that rotated in like a smaller guard, then he would rotate onto that guy. But for the most part, he did his job, was just exactly what the Nuggets needed him to be in this situation. They need options. They need guys who just understand how to move, understand that Jokic is going to try to pass to everybody. It's not just going to be Jokic Murray 2-man game. It was really going to be about, hey, let's see how many people we can get involved here. Let's see if we can get the off-ball movement going. And Cam Johnson had such a great slip at the beginning of the game. I think it was off of a Murray pass, actually, where he caught the ball and then Cam Johnson slipped and Murray found that immediately and darted a pass over to him. Murray had 28 points and 11 assists, super underrated performance in a game where obviously Jokic was the focus, but Murray was fantastic once again. But Cam just moves really well. And because Denver's playing so small, because they have so much spacing, like you have Murray, Jokic, Cam Johnson, Julian Strawther in the starting lineup, and then Christian Brown. Brown's really the only guy who's a non-factor as an outside shooter, just not a guy who was shooting that much. He actually didn't take any threes tonight. I think I misspoke about that in the article that I wrote. But didn't take any threes, but did a lot of good things, just cutting and orbiting around the basket and setting screens and diving and running in transition. Denver's starters looked really good, though, from an offensive perspective. And anytime the Jokic was out there to sort of figure that out, it felt like they were doing amazing stuff. So, again, I thought that Denver, I'll focus more on the starters here, and I'll focus more on Cam here. I thought that Denver's play in general was really, really good, and they deserve a lot of credit for that. I'm going to talk about the defense a little bit in the second segment. I think it was better than people realize, especially given some of the scoring issues that they had. But let's take a break. When we come back, we will discuss just everything that the Nuggets have going on from a defensive standpoint and some of the things that they're trying to figure out. We'll be right back here on Pickaxe and Roll. But first, want to tell you a little bit about the Vemos app. Folks, if you're going out, if you want to enjoy a night out with friends, with family, with a girlfriend, boyfriend, like whoever, you can make it easier and more productive and more fun if you consider using the Vemos app. It tracks your habits. In its own words, it's trying to connect customers to venues in a unique way through their app platform. It's a digital wallet that remembers your habits and helps deliver the brands, the venues, the style, just whatever you're looking for on a night out. Vemos can actually help you do it. And it's stuff that you actually want, as opposed to scrolling through different things. If you're scrolling through a delivery service program and you're trying to figure out what you want to eat for food or where to go, I don't know if you've done this before, you're just scrolling through the Maps app and you're trying to figure out, gosh, I don't know what I want to eat. Well, Vemos will help you out with that. They do it contactless. It's all in one place. Consumers can pay for their food and drinks if they're going out through the Vemos app. You can redeem offers, set up events, and do contactless payments. It's great. I really love it, and you will love it too. It works the other way too. If you're a business owner, Vemos helps manage security verification and risks all in one place. So check out the Vemos app, spelled Vemos, and just have a better night out than before. We'll be right back here on Pickaxe and Roll. All right, we are back. Pickaxe and Roll, Ryan Blackburn here. Thank you so much for tuning into the show, folks. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Would really, really appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoy the show. If it's a little bit laggy, I apologize. If it's a little bit latent, if my voice is not necessarily in line with the sound, or the video is not in line with the sound, I apologize. Doing my best. I couldn't get to an Ethernet port here, so trying to figure it out. But we're moving. We're having a good time. Let's talk about the defense. Different moves says here. I posted multiple clips on Twitter of CB falling asleep defensively and not being able to shoot threes. Is it going to work versus good teams? First of all, yes, of course. Like, Christian Braun is making progress. This is a progress kind of game. Christian Braun is perfect in a game against the Chicago Bulls, though, because there are so many different ways that he can attack in transition, making some highlight plays defensively. I thought, did a really nice job. There were most of the time when he was locked in on the defensive end, when it was on ball versus off ball, I thought he did a great job of chasing around Anthony Simons. Simons had 15 points on 15 shots. How many times have you seen Anthony Simons dominate the Nuggets when he was with the Blazers and just go crazy in some of those games? So the fact that he didn't in this one, I think, is a pretty strong indication of what Christian Braun was able to do. I thought that Denver's defense overall was good. And that's going to surprise a lot of people because their defensive rating that they gave up was 118.9, according to the ESPN box score plugin. Like, 118, 119 is not a good number to give up. That's ridiculous, right? So, Ryan, what are you talking about? Well, Denver forced 16 turnovers. Some of it was unforced errors by Chicago. Some of it was just Denver speeding them up a little bit, especially in the fourth quarter. Chicago took 51 threes. They knew exactly what they were trying to do in the first three quarters of this game. They took 43 threes in the first three quarters alone. And so they had some good shooting luck. Like, let's be honest about what we're seeing here. Patrick Williams shot 2 of 3 from 3 on the bench. Nick Richards was 1 of 1. You had Matas Buzelis was hitting contested threes in the first half and then slowed down in the second half, obviously. Gershon Yabusele, who we know can hit threes, like, he was 4 of 10 from 3 and then obviously slowed down in the later stretches of this game. Denver got hit with some massive shot variance early on. Some of the shots that were hit were very good, and some of them weren't defended well. But a lot of them were. And more importantly, because of the long shots, the long rebounds happened. And Denver, after playing great defense for long stretches and forcing a shot, like with 4 seconds left on the clock, 3 seconds left on the clock, whatever, they would give up a long offensive rebound. And a lot of it was just 50-50 balls that happened to go Chicago's way. If they go Denver's way, then it's looking a lot different. And now it's easy for me to say that Denver didn't do a good enough job. Like I could say that the 50-50 balls didn't go their way. I understand that. But the fact is they didn't. They didn't. And some of that is Denver is at fault for. But I'm not going to make massive proclamations about the Nuggets because they had the ball bounce the incorrect direction. That's just not how I'm going to do it. I think that Denver and their process through the first initial points of the game was really, really good. So we'll see what happens. We'll see whether I am right about this or wrong about this. Denver, of course, you have to do it again. And then that's the exhausting thing about defense. You have to do it again and again and again from a process standpoint. But I do think they can do it. And obviously, when you remove Spencer Jones, Aaron Gordon, Peyton Watson from the equation, it's a harder thing to do than people are understanding, that people are saying. But what Denver was able to make up for was they sped the opposing team up, and they also made some smart plays. And now Here's where I get to shout out a couple of guys for doing that. First and foremost, I think Bruce Brown deserves a shout out. 3 steals and a block, 3 offensive rebounds, shot the ball reasonably efficiently, especially later in this game. And I thought did a lot of great things for Denver in getting them like back into it from an effort standpoint. Like there were a lot of later closeouts with some of the guys in the starting unit, and especially when like I didn't think that Bruce had a particularly good first half, but he was one of the main guys that stepped it up in the fourth quarter and deserves a ton of credit for it. Whether he's jumping passing lanes or forcing guys to step out of bounds or whatever. I just thought he did a really nice job. Julian Strother, surprisingly, like there were times where Julian missed an assignment. There were times where he got lost on the weak side and then gave up a backdoor cut or a 3. But I thought that Julian Strother had a great game. I thought that this was one of the best games that I've ever seen him play. And 33 points in the starting lineup. I think this was the most points most minutes he's ever had 19 points, shot the ball really well. But that wasn't the reason why I thought he was great. The 5 defensive rebounds and the 2 steals that he had, like, it wasn't just those possessions. Like, he stacked together great defensive possessions throughout this game and read the court really well. And that's the kind of progress that you need to make. People forget, like, Julian Strother is 6'7". Julian Strother is really good. And so, like, he's a pretty tall guard and somebody that I think if you are, like, looking at Denver's weak points on the defensive end, sometimes it's because they are too short. Sometimes it's because they are too small. Julian Strother's not too small, especially when he's playing shooting guard or small forward. Now, as I put out there in this, he had to play power forward even a little bit in this game. It wasn't entirely like him not playing. Did he play? Yeah, it was a power forward at the end of the third quarter. That's what it was. So it's not perfect, but I do think that this was just another game where Julian Strother, he strung together some really impressive performances. Denver held on to him through the trade deadline. I'm not sure how close they were to trading him. I'm not sure how far away they were. Like they could have not been close. They could have been really close. But what happened for Julian was he has really played himself into a good role for Denver. And Denver now, you look at some of the stuff that they have when they are fully healthy. When they are fully healthy, going to be pretty difficult for them to like find time for all of these guys. And Julian's obviously one guy. I knew this going in that with Tim Hardaway Jr. here, it's going to be tough for those guys because they both play a very similar role. But starting Julian and removing him from Tim Hardaway Jr. actually makes a lot of sense because those guys can then just be the floor spacer, each of them. And they can have floor spacing for 48 minutes. How awesome is that? That's great. So really nice to see. I think that he did some great stuff. And Marco says here, Strother is taking Pickett minutes. He might be. Like, he honestly might be. I think that, like, look, Jalen had a really good stretch for Denver from, like, December to January, basically. And then, like, had some great stuff in, like, especially the first 2 weeks of January, including that Philly game that he was unbelievable. But guys go through different stretches where sometimes one guy plays, sometimes another guy plays. It's not a regular rotation thing for the guys on the fringes. You just have to take advantage of the time that you get. Right now, Julian Strother's taking advantage of the time, and Jalen Pickett, to me, is not. And that's okay. Like, he helped Denver win. Zeke Naji helped Denver win in the early January stretch, and those guys deserve some credit for it. But now, like in this stretch where you've got more wings that are out as opposed to the centers and the guards, like now you just really need somebody to step up on the wing. And so lo and behold, you've got a wing on your bench that is playing pretty well. So he deserves a ton of credit for it. Finally, in terms of defense, I think I want to give some credit. Who else do I want to give credit to for this game? Cam Johnson played pretty solidly. I obviously gave credit to Jokic. Tim Hardaway Jr. had a good game. I'm not sure if it was as much defensively, but he did draw an offensive foul at one point by running through a screen. He did draw, like, there are some guys that are, again, making the hustle plays and forcing mistakes from Chicago as a result. Tim Hardaway Jr., 23 points and 11 shots. Did miss 4 free throws, which was very weird. He was very mad at himself, but did a lot of good things otherwise. Um, and then we got to talk about Jamal Murray. His defense was bad. Like I'm not going to give him any credit for the defense. And I think if you want to point out a culprit for tonight defensively, it was probably Jamal. But like his legs are shot. It's very difficult for him to stay focused and have the energy to do both things at the same time. When he's on the ball, it's a little bit better defensively than when he's off the ball and having to scramble and do a whole bunch of different things. Um, but like offensively, what Murray's doing right now is still insane. 28 points and 11 assists, shot 4 of 9 from 3, 11 of 18 from the field, just extremely efficient. Did have 3 turnovers, but 11 assists to 3 turnovers is a perfectly reasonable ratio. Uh, got hurt in this game when he drove. Like, actually, talking about the fourth quarter stretch, Jokic was obviously a plus 36. Jonas Valanciunas in his minutes was a minus 15. He was minus 20 at one point in about 10 minutes. And a lot of it was due to just like some random happenstance on 3-point shooting variance, but some of it was because the Jonas Valanciunas minutes were real bad. And I thought that he had a really bad game overall. Came back in, did a good job in the middle of the fourth quarter when he helped get Jokic some rest. But Murray also did a really great job. He like created some opportunities for Valanciunas and also just took over as a scorer for a few possessions right before he got hurt. Landed awkwardly. Apparently it was his hip. I think a left hip, right hip, something that Adelman mentioned. So hopefully that is not a single hopefully it's not a single injury that's going to really push Denver over the top, and hopefully it's not going to hold him out for these next couple of games. Denver could obviously use him for the next couple against Cleveland and Memphis. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. We'll have to see. But to me, Murray has, if he does need to rest, he's certainly earned the time. If that's the case, then Jalen Pickett will need to step up, and other guys will have to figure some stuff out. So we'll see what happens, but should be good. Let's take a break. When we come back, we are going to talk about how Denver's very close to the All-Star break, how they just need to push through just a little bit more. And then you guys can ask any questions you want in the comments, and I'll try to answer as much as I can. We'll be right back here on Pickaxe and Roll.
When I go to court, these aren't my clients. These are my friends. These are people that I believe in. And they have one shot, just one shot for justice. If they've come to me and we've gotten to trial, their life has been turned upside down in some awful way. And I am their only hope. I need to be their champion, to quote Prince Oberyn from Game of Thrones. They need someone in this trial by combat that can fight for them. I'm all they have. So if I haven't put the time in, if I haven't trained, if I haven't humbly looked in the mirror and thought about ways I can be better, and I don't present my best self in court, then I failed them. And that's what motivates me as a trial lawyer, because when this is over, that client goes home. And if I haven't done my best for him, if I haven't been his champion, then I've failed.
The thing about basketball is, your team can win, or they might come up short. Either way, how much fun you have is all about who you're hanging with. Come on over to Hooters, where every game's a win. With wings that bring the heat, ice-cold beer to wash them down, and the only stat we really care about is assists.
Game's on. Where are you going to be?
Hooters, your official hangout for game day.
All right. Shout out to Zaner Law and to Hooters for sponsoring today's video. Welcome back to Pickaxe and Roll. Really appreciate the love and support on the podcast. As always, folks, hit that like button down below. Hit the subscribe button. Would really, really appreciate it. Okay. Comments are going crazy. Comments are arguing about Peyton Watson and Christian Brown. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on. I think this point from Marco just now is very good. Marginal players like Strother, Pickett look good against bad teams, but we need them for those games. 100%. Like, this is the entire reason why you build out depth. This is the entire reason why you have a roster that is full of 15 people. Right now, Denver's roster has 13 people, and today it had 11 people that were available. Not awesome. Not awesome for sure. They need to get healthy. They need to find a way. Hopefully, they'll figure it out. But ultimately right now, I think that the Nuggets are just getting through until the All-Star break. Things will look a little bit different when they come back. Spencer Jones will hopefully have a converted contract. I mean, hopefully Spencer Jones has cleared concussion protocol within these last couple of games, and he also has a two-way contract by then. At some point, like the argument that has been made to me by people is that Denver's going to try to get a like Spencer Jones, certainly in terms of a minimum contract that he has. Sorry if you saw the light just died here, so I don't know if you can see the extra shadow on my face over here. But no, I think that Denver, the argument that I have heard was that they are going to try to sign a buyout guy with that extra space. Now, to be clear, they have it's a requirement that they get Jones. And Marco asks, I thought that they signed him. The answer is that they're going to sign him. They have committed to signing him at some point, but they have not signed him officially yet. Until he is signed officially by the team, until that they have made that public, until they've made that clear, he can't play. Like straight up, he cannot play. So even if he had cleared concussion protocol tonight, he would have been ineligible. So Nuggets fans have to understand that, like, until he actually has that contract, he cannot play. So we'll see. Like, hopefully they don't try to waste a whole bunch of time. Like, they're like, oh, no, we're just right next to the All-Star break. We just got to hold on just for a little bit and we could save just a little bit of money. Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not true. I don't know, but it just wouldn't surprise me if one of the reasons, like, they're going to use this as, if they're going to use this as an excuse of sorts to try to save some money and then squeeze Spencer Jones's contract, or like they pay him less and they still don't get a 15th guy. But yeah, we will see. Gosh, you guys are just arguing about Christian Brown and Peyton Watson in the comments, aren't you? This is actually pretty sad. Like, what's going on? I see. Look, the argument is basically that Christian Brown has not been good. Christian Brown will never be good. It's not true. First and foremost, he got a contract for a reason. It wasn't crazy that he got the contract either. He shot 39% from three. He was extremely confident. He was playing at the peak of his powers. I do think that he's lacking some confidence as a shooter right now. There's zero doubt about that. Like, he's mostly unwilling to take some of those shots. But as is made clear, he is coming off of a ligament tear in his ankle. Like, the ankle was not supposed to bend that way. And as I've talked about before, the ankle sprain was closer to grade 3 than people want to admit. I think that Denver really struggled with their perimeter defense without Christian Brown. And while it hasn't fully improved, he's still trying to figure out some things, I think that over the past 3 games, going up against Cade Cunningham, Jalen Brunson, and whoever he was dealing with in this game, Anthony Simons, Montas Buzelis, various guys, he showed some value there in terms of what he was providing on the defensive end. Now, is that worth $25 million per year? No. Is Christian Brown getting paid $25 million per year this season? No. This is the argument that I've used with Jamal Murray, with Michael Porter Jr., with all of the guys that have signed extensions and then struggled after signing the extension. Like, these guys, they're not being penalized yet for having that contract. The Nuggets have other guys that can and should be able to step up. It's tough. Like, you would love for Christian Brown to immediately be playing like a $25 million per year player right now. Coming off of the injury, you guys have to have at least a little bit of slack. Like, I'm not sitting here going out of my way to defend him, but this is just logical. This is just like you have to be reasonable about this. Now, will he close every game in the playoffs? Probably not. Will he close some games in the playoffs? Yeah. Will Peyton Watson close some games in the playoffs? Yeah. Could Julian Strother or Tim Hardaway Jr. or Bruce Brown close some games in the playoffs? Absolutely. The only guys you feel like are definitely closing games in the playoffs are Jokic and Murray, unless they're in foul trouble or hurt. Like, I think that there are times where Aaron Gordon might not close. There are times where, like, Christian Brown certainly won't. There are times where Cam Johnson certainly won't. And it's going to be a rotating amount of potential. Ryan, do you think Brown deserves to be paid more than Andrew Nemhard? Be completely honest. I'm not, like, with what we've seen right now. No, of course not. But, like, for a variety of reasons, he is getting paid more. And I think that by the actual time that he's into his contract, I think you'll feel a little bit differently. He needs a little bit of distance away from this injury. He needs a little bit of time. But here's the thing. The Nuggets paid him to be with Jokic for the next 5 seasons. And I think that he's going to be really freaking good with Jokic for the next 5 seasons. Could they benefit from having a guy like Andrew Nemhard right now? Sure. Because Andrew Nemhard's, like, really good right now. And, like, Christian Brown has really struggled in terms of the offensive consistency and what he's expected to do. But, like, this is a problem that Denver will have to deal with, that every team has to deal with. You don't think that the Thunder are dealing with this, that the Spurs are dealing with this? Like, they're absolutely all dealing with this stuff. The Rockets, like, Amin Thompson cannot shoot as a point guard, and teams are defending him like Russell Westbrook late in his prime, with Draymond Green sagging off all the way into the paint. Like, all of these teams are dealing with this stuff. And so you could either choose to get involved and get too crazy about it, or you could just see, where can Christian Brown be most helpful? Where can he be most helpful? Like, right now, that's getting over screens, that's running in transition, and that's fighting and competing and moving the basketball to the other guys who are scoring. Like, did Christian Brown hurt Denver's offense tonight? Really? No. And so this, again, as you guys meant in the comments, as you mentioned, this is against a subpar team. This is not against the best of the best. Can Christian Brown play against the best of the best at the level that he's at right now? I don't know. Probably not. Probably not. He's going to have his minutes cut. You know how many times Lou Dort in last year's playoffs had his minutes cut to, like, under 20 because they had other options off the bench? Several times. Did it mean that he didn't start? Did it mean that he didn't have value for that OKC team? You guys remember when he hit, like, 6 threes or 3 threes in a row against Denver in game 5 of that series? Of course you do. Of course you remember that, because it was heartbreaking. Like, Christian Brown will have that moment in these playoffs this year, and it may not be all the time. It might not be 30 minutes a game of just clamps and scoring 20 a night. That's not what Christian Brown's going to do. It's not even what he was paid to do. He was paid to be a solid starter, and he will get there again. The question is whether he's going to get there right now, immediately after having the worst injury of his career. And the answer is probably not. But, like, that's okay, because Denver's really freaking talented, and they've got other guys who can do the job. So it's one of the great benefits of Peyton Watson's development. Couldn't you see it being Murray, Watson, Johnson, Gordon, Jokic in a lot of those games that really matter? Yeah. Could you see Christian Brown coming in and wreaking havoc? Yeah, absolutely. So we'll find out. We'll see what happens. But I think that there are, like, you guys are going over the top on this, to be clear. And that's okay. Like, you're reactionary. I get it. This has been a very stressful time for Nuggets fans. But, like, they are still pretty good. And the other thing is, like, if you think Spencer Jones greater than Christian Brown, better defense, shoot better, whatever, like, okay, great. If you guys want to say that Christian Brown's, like, the 9th best Nugget this year, it means that Denver's top 8 are really good. That means they're really, really good. And, like, that's fine. That's great. I'm not worried about this, and neither should you. You should not be worried about this. I swear, if this is not going to be an issue. We can talk about it, but, like, if you go insane about it every game, I'm going to start blocking people en masse. Like, it's ridiculous. So have some composure and have some belief that your team is going to figure it out. Have some belief that Christian Brown, who has won it every step of his career, is going to figure it out. He'll be all right. Okay. Denver's got 2 more games. They have to play Cleveland and then Memphis. They're both at home. They will try to finish the season strong, or the pre-All-Star break portion of the season strong. We'll see what happens. Cleveland tonight, did they win? No, they did. Did they? Yeah, they won. Sorry, the box score was very weird there. They won tonight. James Harden had 23 points and 8 assists, was a -14 in a game that they won by 6. So it's not perfect. They started. Here's the lineup that Cleveland started: Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Sam Merrill, Jalen Tyson, Jared Allen. Denver's going to be fine if they play small too against that group. They're going to need to play hard. They're going to need to play consistently. I'm not sure if you can start Julian Strawther and Jamal Murray and Cam Johnson in that situation. Like, you've got to have 2 guys that can guard James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. So wouldn't surprise me if Denver changes up their lineup a little bit, but who knows? Maybe they could get Spencer Jones back and he could guard James Harden or somebody like that. But Denver doesn't really have a lot of great options here. Christian Brown will guard one of those guys. You're going to need Christian Brown for that one. And somebody else will guard one of the others. Like, who do you even put in on those guys in those situations? That's going to be a tough thing. Denver's going to be in a pickle. Like, Cleveland scored 132. Denver's going to have to score probably 135. But the good news is that they're capable of it, because Cleveland is starting Jared Allen, 4 guards, and then off the bench they have Thomas Bryant, Dennis Schroeder, Craig Porter Jr., Keon Ellis, and Naquan Tomlin. Like, Denver can score buckets in this situation, even if they don't have Jamal Murray. And then on Wednesday, they will face the Memphis Grizzlies. Did Memphis play tonight? They did. They lost by 7 to the Blazers. Memphis started Kyle Anderson. That's insane. Shout out to Kyle Anderson, who used to play for the Memphis and then stopped playing for Memphis and is now back in Memphis. He started at center tonight. Kyle Anderson did. Next to Gigi Jackson, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Ty Jerome, and somebody named Jemai Mashak. Don't know who that is, and I consider myself an NBA expert. So shout out. Jemai Mashak had 6 steals against the Blazers, but they still managed to lose. So Memphis is in a really tough place. We'll see what happens. But I do think that Denver's going to be fine. Could they go 2-0 at home? That would be great. If they did, that would be awesome. They won tonight, so they're 34-19. If they could go to 36-19 before the All-Star break, that would be pretty good. That would be pretty solid. So we'll see if they're able to manage it. But for now, folks, that is going to do it for this episode of Pickaxe and Roll, brought to you by our good friends here at Mile High Sports. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Hope you like the setting. I didn't really do too much with it, but just hanging out here at the dining room table of my aunt and uncle's house. It's great. Everybody have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Super Bowl tomorrow, I will be enjoying. I will be hoping that the Seahawks curb stomp the New England Patriots. Just for you, Broncos fans. Have a great night. Appreciate the love and support. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button on the way out. I'll talk to you guys on Monday.